Hey JWLKRS, welcome back to Home Series. I'm excited to share with you a message from the book of Samuel. We got 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel in the Bible. They really weren't separated in the original Hebrew Bible. They were only separated into two because they didn't fit on one scroll. So this is from the book of 1 Samuel and it's starting in chapter 1. I think it's interesting that the story is called Samuel because most of the story is about the legacy of King David and what he did in the kingdom of Israel. But it starts with a man who was a prophet, and it starts kind of with his story and the story of his family. And he wasn't even supposed to ever exist. If it wasn't for a mother's prayer, he may not have. And so we're going to pick up this story in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 3. It says, "Now this man used to go up year by year from his city to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phineas, were priests of the Lord. On the day when Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion, because he loved her, though the Lord had closed her womb. And her rival used to provoke her grievously to irritate her, because the Lord had closed her womb." So we're introduced to some of the characters there. The main ones we're going to look at today are Hannah and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phineas. And we're going to look at their stories and how they're kind of a little bit different. In the story of Hannah, what you have is a lady who didn't really have that much. In that time, if you were an Israelite woman, you were kind of given your status only based on your family. It wasn't based on what you did or your accomplishments. It was based on your husband and eventually your children. And so Hannah had no children, and they would have looked at that as like a judgment of God. Like she had done something wrong, that she hadn't been given children, and she would have lost kind of her status. And so she prayed to God. And she said, "God, I want a child. Please give me a child. This lady's making fun of me. She irritates me all the time. I know I have my husband and he loves me, but my heart's desire is for a child." And she went and saw Eli, and he said, you're gonna have a child. And she did. God blessed her in that way. And a little later on, she decided that instead of keeping that child for herself, she was gonna dedicate him back to the Lord. It says, starting in verse 27, "For this child I prayed, and the Lord has granted me my petition that I had made to him. Therefore I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is lent to the Lord." So she took the gift that she'd been given and she gave it back to God. He gave her something that she really desired and that she really wanted, and I'm sure her heart was to hold on to that thing and to make it for her. But instead of doing that, she gave that gift back to God. I just think that's so encouraging. And what we see through her story is we see that not only is she blessed with more children than Samuel, but Samuel's blessed, and he becomes a real man of God, even in the face of a place where kind of not everyone was following God, and the voice of God wasn't heard that often. Samuel hears the voice of God. God calls him, and he becomes a judge of Israel, a major prophet in the story, the one who anoints Saul and King David eventually. His story is an amazing story, but it started as a gift that was given back to God. Hannah recognized that what she had was from God, and she decided that it wasn't hers to hold on to. It was best for her to give it back. And then we have these other two characters, Hophni and Phineas. In verse 12 of chapter 2, it says of them, "Now the sons of Eli were worthless men. They did not know the Lord." It's kind of crazy that they didn't know the Lord. They were priests, right? Priests that didn't know the Lord? It's like a teacher who doesn't know the subject they're trying to teach, or a mechanic who doesn't know how to fix a car. It's not a good thing. But that's what the Bible says. They were worthless men who didn't know the Lord. Now, I know that they had heard about God. I know that they knew who God was. So what this is showing me is that there's something different between knowing who God is and actually knowing God. Jaywalkers, what we say is that we want to live known. It's what the LK of Jaywalkers stands for, living known. And what that means is not just that we know who God is, not just that we know the stories of God, but that we know God and that He's real in our lives and that we have a real walk and a real relationship with Him. And what the Bible's saying about these two is that they didn't have that. They were kind of faking it. What does it look like when you're kind of faking it? You can tell. It says here, the custom of the priests with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servants would come while that meat was boiling with a 3-pronged fork in his hand, and he would thrust it in the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. This is what they did at Shiloh to all the Israelites who came there. Moreover, before the fat was burned, the priest's servants would come and say to the man who was sacrificing, "Give meat for the priest to roast, for he will not accept boiled meat from you, but only raw." And if the man said to him, "Let them burn the fat first, and then take as much as you wish," he would say, "No, you must give it now, and if not, I will take it by force." So this is the kind of things that these guys did. Later on, we actually find out that they were also not doing the best things with the ladies in the area. It said they would lay with the women who were serving at the entrance of the tent of meeting in verse 22. So these guys were taking a gift that they were given by the Lord. It was a gift to serve God. It was a gift to be a priest. And they took that gift and they made it about themselves, about what they could gain from it. They didn't have to be priests. God could have chosen somebody else. There were plenty of other Levites, plenty of other people. Maybe they felt like they deserved it because of their family. Maybe they felt like it was owed to them, that they should get these extra good portions of things. But in any case, what they did was they took the gift that was supposed to be given to God and they claimed it for themselves. And I don't know if you've ever done that or not, but I think I maybe have done that. In fact, some of us might be doing that right now. I know it doesn't seem like a gift. It's kind of like hidden. Like service might seem that way sometimes. Like being a priest, it's a job. It's a duty. Maybe they would have rather been something else, but it was a gift. And right now we've been given a gift that might not look like a gift. We've been given time. We've been given an opportunity to dive deeper into God and into His Word. We've been given an opportunity to get closer to immediate family members, to people who are living with us, to know them better. This is a time of relationship building, and it's a great opportunity, and it's a great gift. But this gift that God has given us, we're going to have to choose how we use it. Some of us will choose like Hannah. We'll decide that since God gave us this gift, we're going to dedicate it back to Him. And if we do that, God will respond the same way that He responded to Hannah. He'll take what we are given to Him and He'll multiply it. He gave Hannah more. Samuel was blessed immensely because of the gift that Hannah gave back. He was the gift, and that gift was blessed. But Hophni and Phineas decided that they were going to take the gift that God had given them and make it about themselves. And that gift got taken from them. In fact, their very lives got taken from them. In chapter 4, verse 10, it says, "So the Philistines fought, and Israel was defeated, and they fled, every man to his home. And there was a very great slaughter, for 30,000 foot soldiers of Israel fell. And the ark of God was captured, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phineas, died. When we take things that are God's and we make them ours, and we think we're going to benefit from that, and we're going to be the ones who have the most stuff, and we take advantage of the gift God's given us, then we lose that gift. And we might lose the very life that we're trying to make better. But when we'll take what God's given us and we'll give it back to Him in honor of Him, spending that time with Him, learning more about what He says, learning more about who He is in relationship, then what we have is what God has given us being multiplied, being made stronger, being made better, being made more. And so we have an opportunity with this gift that we didn't expect, that may not look like a gift, to either keep it for ourselves and make it about us, or to give it back to God. My prayer, Jaywalkers, is that you'll spend this time giving your gift back to God. We love you. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.